All right, we're live.
All right, so thank you guys for live hopping over. We're gonna give people a minute to join the chat. I know it's just been a constant chain of live streams, but it's been fun. So thank you everybody for being here. Thank you everybody for coming to Paranormal Para Experience 2021, PEX 2021. And my next guest is somebody I don't know at all. I don't know this guy at all.
That's true.
We're strangers. Is Jason Spencer, half of the Haunted Side.
Yeah, there's the other half.
There's the other half. But he's here not to discuss the Haunted Side. We'll talk about that later. Right now, he's going to talk about Cemetery Road, which is awesome. And if you haven't subscribed to it, what are you doing with your life, honestly? So Jason, what made you decide to do a documentary show on cemeteries?
I hang out in a lot of cemeteries.
I mean, it's
like literally, I hang out in way too many cemeteries. And I think I was talking to somebody who's like, every time I see a cemetery, I think of you. I don't know how to say that.
That's the nicest compliment I think I've ever heard.
That's right. So I go to a lot of cemeteries. I do a lot of filmmaking. I do a ton of photography, which is one of the reasons I'm in the cemeteries. I'm taking photos of the stones and everything. And I thought I would scratch my filmmaking itch as well at the same time and just start doing little videos on cemeteries I go to. And turns out there's other weirdos out there who also like that stuff. There's like a whole world of cemetery like nuts.
What's the official word for that? Because you have a shirt that says that on it.
Tapophile.
Tapophile. So if you're a tapophile, you're a fan of cemeteries.
That's right. And so I just started a little YouTube channel, and that's it. It's just every once in a while you just need to do something creative to get that creative juices flowing or scratch that creative itch, and that project is that thing for me.
And you shoot cemeteries during the day.
And I'm there during the day. And it's been fun because one, there's cemeteries everywhere. But as I've moved across the country, you get to see the various styles of stonework, of how certain areas of the country do their burial practices. It's sad to see the modernization of the burial practices as we go from like giant ornate stones that tell the story of the person that came before, but then you start seeing basically
flat,
memorial gardens kind of thing where it's just a flat stone, name, date, that's it, which kind of takes a little bit of the humanity out of the memories. But it's been a ton of fun.
So what is your favorite cemetery you visited so far?
There's so many. Well, I didn't do an episode on this cemetery because this was way before I had this idea in my head. But the Greyfriars Kirkyard over in Edinburgh, Scotland, is one of the most beautiful and creepy cemeteries I've ever been to.
Is that the one that has the dog?
Yes.
That people see?
The Greyfriars.
The Greyfriars Bobby?
Bobby.
Yes.
The little statue. Basically, it was, I want to say the caretaker's dog, little Scottish Bobby dog. And when he passed away, the dogs remained in the cemetery and would basically just sit on his master's grave and just hang out there all day long for years and years. And then when the dog passed away, they buried the dog with his master. And now there's a little statue outside of the cemetery of the dog that it's like a metal statue, and like its head is, I want to say it's bronze,
but it's like been like,
everybody goes and pets the dog statue, so you can see where it's just been worn away. It's pretty cool.
And people have seen, I guess, supposedly have seen a spirit of a dog wandering around.
They still see the
kind
dog
of guards the cemetery.
And that's one of the things I get asked a lot too is, do I investigate in cemeteries? Because there are a bunch of cemeteries I go to that have some sort of story connected to it, and I do not. For the plain reason that I'm there to just document the stonework, the stones, the people that came before. I don't want to be disrespectful to anybody by going in there and trying to interview their loved ones or something like that. I just try and keep Cemetery Road as respectful as possible, following all the guidelines of everywhere I go to and all that kind of stuff. The investigative stuff comes with the haunted side.
So with
epitaphs can be very interesting and can be very creative. Some are very plain, like you said, some it's just a name, date, really direct, straightforward. Have you come across one that you were like, or like your favorite one that's like really particularly clever or funny?
Yes. There's one
What is
in
that?
Goldfield.
Oh, that's
Goldfield has a great cemetery. It's pretty large for the little town. Goldfield's like a nowhere blip on the map between Reno and Las Vegas.
Honestly, it scares me. That town scares me.
It's creepy. But it has a paupers area. That's where you know, if you didn't have the money for a proper burial, they just kind of put you all in the same kind of plot area. And in the paupers grave area, all the graves are marked with big stones, a little larger than like football size, but they're all painted white, and they'll have like either just one name and a date or unknown written on it. And one says, unknown, died eating library paste.
It really does say that.
And if you Google it right now, library paste gravestone, it'll pop up
Yeah.
because apparently there was just a transient man way back in the day. Yeah, he was homeless or whatever. This was like way back in the day, Old West days. The library in town had their garbage out back, and he went back there and found like a jar of library paste, which is glue that they would use to bind the books back together, but it was highly toxic. Well, he ate it all and died. So,
The short story is he ate it all.
so there's that one, and then most recently I came across a stone in Arkansas that was the grave of someone. It literally says like his name, the date, like fell by the hand of an assassin on the streets of whatever town it was.
Dramatic.
And I was like, well, that's cool. I've tried to look up like what the situation was where he was assassinated, but I couldn't track anything down. But those are always super interesting.
My favorite one, I didn't get to see it in person, but my favorite one is the one that somebody put in. It's like the saltiest, most petty gravestone I think I've ever seen. So, I mean, gold. But there's one that says their epitaph literally just says, "I told you I was sick."
There's
Like,
the one.
wow.
There's the one about like what's his name? I think you sent it to me.
I think
A man who
fought 100 bears or something.
he fought 99 bears. Like it's like Joe Jordan. You can look it up. Fought bears tombstone.
Fought
Like
bears tombstone.
I can't remember his name, but it's like a scrappy old like timer thing. But apparently he fought 99 bears. If you look up the story, he was getting very old in age. He was very sick, and basically on his deathbed, his friends brought him a bear, and they're like, just like subdue it real quick so we can say you fought 90 or you fought 100 bears. And he wouldn't do it because he's like, that's like, I fought my bears honestly. Like I went out and I fought them bears. I'm like, this is cheating kind of thing. And I'm like, well, that's good on you, bro. And I think it's way more interesting that you fought 99 bears.
And you were like, on that 100th, no.
I'm dead.
You don't softball me that bear.
Yeah.
How dare you? There's a whole like Tumblr story behind it too, where it's like his epitaph is oddly like ominous, where it says like it almost like indicates like, do we think he's gonna come back to get that 100th bear, like to get that extra bear? Like it's pretty funny because it's like the bears wrote this epitaph.
Yeah.
It's almost like oddly scared of him, like please don't disturb this man because he might come back and fight another bear.
That's right.
So does anyone have any questions or Jason regarding
Yeah.
Cemetery Road? Oh my goodness.
Yes, sir.
Oh, come on.
It seems like, you don't have to do it.
Oh.
It seems like you have the perfect platform to put out, let's stop putting solar lights around cemeteries. Because you go there and you go, why these lights in the cemetery? And then I finally figured it out. These people are putting those little butterflies and stuff in the cemetery. It's putting them all over the place. What do you think about that?
I kind of like them. There was a cemetery like way before I started doing this. I was living in Germany, and I had gone out with some friends to a bar or a club or something, and the night wrapped up, and I walked home. And on the walk home from where the bar was to my house, I had to pass by this rather large, ornate cemetery. And I don't know what the event was or what the reasoning behind it was, but on this very particular night, they had gone and placed like literal candles, so not battery powered or solar powered, and like they had lit candles and put them at every single stone in this graveyard. And so I come across this street and I look out and there's just this glowing graveyard in front of me. And it was the coolest thing I've ever seen. Unfortunately, it was about a time before like cell phones had sweet cameras and all that kind of stuff. So I didn't get that photo, but I always kind of like lights in the graveyard.
Matt has a question.
Matt.
So you've seen thousands of tombstones. What is the weirdest thing you've seen etched into a tombstone?
I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen anything like weird on a tombstone. I know there are ones out there that are very ornate or very weird and, you know, they wanted to leave their mark kind of thing. I think one of the ones I like the most that I've seen online is a woman's stone that on one side has her information and stuff, and that's all pretty normal. But on the back, it's the recipe for her cookies.
Yeah.
Grandma's homemade cookies, and it's just like literally just a giant recipe card. I was like, that's cool. That's cool. I like that.
That's a cool idea. Sean has a question.
Sean.
So I know that you're going around and you're actually cleaning off tombstones. I think
Oh, yeah.
amazing, by the way. My question is to you: when you find a damaged tombstone that might be easy to fix, like maybe it's just laying down, do you?
I don't touch it. So the question is, like, when I come across broken tombstones, do I ever attempt to repair them? I do stone cleaning right now. But even then, like, you got to check to make sure the stone is good. You don't want to spray it down, start scrubbing and have that thing go over. But tombstones are extremely heavy. Even if they're small, like the stones they're made out of is very, very heavy. So one, I don't want to like try and pick it up and then have it fall again and maybe break in half. Two, I have come across tombstones that are on the ground just laying there. I don't know if that's where it used to be. Like, I don't know if I tipped it up, it would be sitting where it was. I've been to really old cemeteries that there's a good chance that stone probably just got moved. You go to some cemeteries and stones that clearly have fallen over are now propped up against trees. I don't know if that person was buried by that tree. I don't know if someone came along and found a tombstone here and they're like, well, we don't want to sit in here. We'll just take it, put it over here. So I don't touch them at all because I don't have the training, the know-how, the materials to properly fix anything like that. So I'm just going to leave that to the professionals. I'll clean them up. I have like a little brush thing that I can just like dust them off real quick or whatever, but I don't move them.
This is from Jackie in the chat.
Jackie?
What would your epitaph say?
I have no clue. I have no clue. And it's kind of weird because I go to cemeteries. I love hanging out in cemeteries.
Nope.
But I don't intend to be buried in a cemetery. I'm going to be cremated and my family can do with what they please. I won't be here anymore, so it won't matter to me.
I want mine to have an etched Kate Wilson.
I'll be back's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. All right, so if nobody
Wait,
has,
I'm dead?
Wait, I died? Oh no! So since no one has any other questions, we're gonna wrap it here. So Jason, tell us where they can find you.
Jason, real quick.
Yes.
While you're filming, because you're obviously there during the day, has anybody approached you asking like what the hell you're doing?
Yes. Like literally in Kansas, a police officer came up to me. Like he's like pulling up because I was cleaning a stone. He pulls up. He didn't come to me because he wanted to know what I was doing, but I was cleaning a stone and he came up and he's like, have you seen a pumpkin orange car drive through here? And I was like, no. He's like, if you do, if you do, call 911 and tell them you saw a pumpkin car. And I was like, should I be worried?
Should I be concerned that pumpkin bandits are gonna get me?
I don't know what they did, but the cops are on them.
The pumpkin gang is on the run.
You can find everything I do on YouTube, YouTube / The Cemetery Road, Instagram, The Cemetery Road. And then you can also find me through the Haunted Side if you're subscribed there.
Heck yeah. So go
And
subscribe.
to the Dead Hours.
Thank you.
She made my theme song.
I did make his theme song. So thank you so much, Jason.
No
That's awesome. We'll see you in a few hours when you're up here with Patrick.
That's right. I gotta tug him along. I carry that show so much.
Your sidekick.
My sidekick.
Your sidekick. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you.